Annexation is a controversial process. Imagine waking up to find that the city has incorporated your land overnight, without your consent or even proper notice. This isn't just an inconvenience. It can violate property rights, lead to economic hardship, and create social divisions. Today, we'll explore a few top reasons why property owners might sue over forced annexation, and what cities can do to avoid the courtroom. The goal here isn't to issue threats, but rather to highlight potential pitfalls that could cost cities time and money if they aren't careful. So here's our list of the top 6 grounds for litigation. Hey, that's my property. The first is a rights violation. Imagine waking up one day to find your property has been absorbed by the city with no prior notice. That's a violation of due process. When your land value takes a nosedive after annexation, we enter takings clause territory, where property owners can argue that they have been deprived of fair compensation. Annexation can be seen as taking property without just compensation. Arguments include diminished property value or increased financial burdens, like taxes, fees, and increased assessments. Property owners have a constitutional right to be heard before their land is taken or its value diminished. In cases like City of Kingfisher versus Estate of Comp 2021, courts have reminded cities that property rights aren't just suggestions, they're the law. Number 2 is improper procedures, as in, hey, you didn't follow the rules. When cities try to cut corners, it doesn't go unnoticed. Common claims that open the door to lawsuits include 1. Failure to hold required public hearings. 2. Inadequate notice to affected residents. 3. Lack of transparency in the process. Transparency is key, and when it's lacking, cities face legal challenges, as in Edwards versus City of Goldsboro in 1999. Here, procedural missteps led to a successful challenge. It's a reminder that annexation is not just about the outcome, but the process. Number 3, that's not what the law says. State law violations. State laws around annexation are there to prevent overreach, yet some cities push their limits. Courts, however, don't take kindly to such moves, as seen in Nolan versus City of Margate in 2015, where the city's actions were swiftly halted. Cities cannot ignore state laws or interpret them loosely. It's a surefire way to end up in court. This isn't fair. Or number 4. The unreasonable impact saga. When a city annexes without improving services or infrastructure, property owners question the fairness. Increased taxes with no visible benefit, or worse, annexing land for undesirable uses like landfills, causes resentment and legal pushback. For instance, residents in Penn Hills, Pennsylvania, sued over exactly these kinds of issues in 2017, showing that people expect something in return for their increased tax burden. Service quality concerns have included fears of inadequate or inferior services post-annexation. Number 5 is, but we had a deal, or contract complications. Annexation doesn't happen in a vacuum. Sometimes it crashes headlong into existing contracts or agreements. In St. Louis versus Champ Landfill in 2010, the city's annexation efforts threatened to invalidate a long-standing agreement, sparking a legal battle. These situations create uncertainty for developers and businesses alike. And then finally, number 6, or the discrimination or inequity dilemma. Selective annexation can be seen as discriminatory when certain communities are unfairly targeted or left out. In Fullerton, California, in 2011, a lawsuit alleged that the city was selectively annexing Latino neighborhoods. Other lawsuits argued that only affluent areas were annexed to increase the tax base. This type of inequity doesn't just lead to social tension, it leads to the courtroom. Lawsuits surrounding forced annexation are complex but not uncommon. They underscore the importance of transparency, fairness, and following the law. If a city isn't careful, what starts as an attempt to simply expand its tax base can end up a legal quagmire, burdened with lengthy and costly litigation.